It's been said that when artists paint something, it's them putting their message out into the world. But what if the painter is trying to say something secret? Some of the greatest pieces of artwork, the masterpieces that we all know of, are not all that they seem to be. Through examination by some of the world's greatest minds, it was discovered that within the paint and canvas laid a secret message. These are 10 famous paintings with hidden codes. Number 1 is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. One of the most well-known paintings of all time, The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, was painted in Milan, Italy in the late 1490s. Controversy surrounds this famous painting, especially after being heavily featured in author Dan Brown's historical fiction novel, The Da Vinci Code. However, Mr. Brown is not the only one with theories about what secret meanings lurk beyond the brushstrokes of this famous painting. Italian musician Giovanni Maria Palla discovered that when a musical scale is laid across the table and the hands and loaves in the painting are taken as notes, a musical composition is formed. When read left to right, as was the writing style of Da Vinci, a 40-second tune comes to life. While this may seem way too far-fetched to believe, even disbelieving scholars support this theory due to the fact that the composition boasts perfect harmony. Number 2 is Terrace at Night by Vincent van Gogh. Long before the rumors and myths of the secret messages behind Da Vinci's masterpiece The Last Supper surfaced, it was and still is an inspiration to artists around the world. Even the well-known post-impressionist painter Vincent van Gogh seemed to use it as an influence. Painted in France in 1888, Van Gogh's Terrace at Night is said to be his own adaptation of the Last Supper scene. Looking closely, you can see that there are clearly 12 diners all seated around a central figure with long hair. Plus, there are multiple crosses hidden in the painting, including one in the window directly behind the presumed Jesus figure. Not convinced yet? It is worth noting that Van Gogh, the son of a Protestant minister, was very religious. So religious that when he wrote his brother in respect to his painting, he insisted that the world had a tremendous need for religion. Number 3 is American Gothic by Grant Wood. American Gothic by Grant Wood was painted in 1930. This painting features 2 seemingly boring and ordinary farmer folk posing for a picture in front of an American Gothic style house. However, when it comes to famous paintings, nothing is ever as it seems. Looking closer at the painting, we see that the woman has a loose strand falling out of her tied back hair and wears a brooch featuring the Greek goddess Persephone. Persephone, known in Greek mythology as the goddess of the underworld, spring, and vegetation, also has a dark past. Myth has it that Persephone was abducted and raped by the Greek goddess Hades, king of the underworld. Is the loose hair on the woman in American Gothic an indication that Wood was actually creating a modern-day version of the Greek legend? It's worth noting that the pitchfork you see the farmer holding in the painting is eerily similar to Hades' 2-pronged signature weapon. Number 4 is the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. Famous for her elusive smile, her following you all the time eyes, and the fact that she may actually be the womanized self-portrait of her painter, Mona Lisa's meaning and identity has intrigued historians for ages. Painted in 1503, Da Vinci was back at it again, hiding secret messages and meanings in his work. Historians in Italy have just discovered that when Mona Lisa's eyes are magnified, tiny numbers and letters can be seen. A distinctive LV is found in her right eye, which many assume to stand for Leonardo da Vinci, as well as undistinguishable symbols in her left eye. On the bridge in the background, the number 72 appears, along with the number 149 on the back of the painting. Are all these numbers just coincidence? Are historians looking for something that just isn't there? Well, many experts insist that these letters and numbers are code for a real-life Da Vinci Code-like puzzle. However, nobody has ever even come close to solving it. Number 5 is The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo. One of the most iconic images of all time, The Creation of Adam, was painted by Michelangelo in 1512 as part of his commissioned work on the Sistine Chapel. As well as being renowned as one of the greatest painters and sculptors to come out of the Italian Renaissance, Michelangelo was also an enthusiastic student of anatomy. If you take a closer look at The Creation of Adam, you will notice that the cape behind God very clearly resembles the outline of a brain. Right down to the pituitary stalk, Michelangelo managed to incorporate many complex components of the brain. American scientists have confirmed that The Creation of Adam, as well as other panels done by Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel, feature true anatomical sketches. It was well known that Michelangelo harbored resentment for the church in regards to their dismissal of science. Perhaps this was his revenge. Number 6 is An Accident by L.S. Lowry. An Accident was painted in 1926 by British artist L.S. Lowry as part of his famous matchstick men style. Lowry was known for painting scenes of industrial England that subtly featured everyday human suffering. While An Accident is not blatantly about anything necessarily negative, if you look at the right-hand corner of the painting, you will notice a small crowd gathering by the town lake. This was to be reflective of the scene of an actual suicide of a young local woman who drowned herself in the town square not long before Lowry painted this scene. However, what is found to be the most unsettling is how this suicide is a background incident, indication that death is not important to anyone there. You will notice that some matchstick men seem to be interested in the scene, others just keep going with their lives. The hidden message is that our pain doesn't matter at all and we are inevitably all alone. Number 7 is Isabella by John Everett Millais. Painted in 1849 by English painter John Everett Millais, Isabella depicts a scene from Giovanni Boccaccio's Decameron novel. Looking closely at the man in the left foreground with his leg outstretched and nutcracker in his hand, you will notice a certain private-shaped shadow on the table. Strange how this phallic-looking shadow lines up perfectly with this figure's crotch. In addition, the salt spilled across the shadow may signify more than just some white salt. It's noteworthy that the Decameron, the book on which this scene was based, has often been described as the most erotic book ever written. It wasn't until 2012 that these details were discovered, so while the intention of the artist cannot be confirmed, many art curators are quick to validate that masturbation and the anxiety of controlling your sexuality were well-known troubles at the time that this piece was painted. Number 8 is Man, Controller of the Universe, painted by Diego Rivera. Man, Controller of the Universe was painted by Diego Rivera in 1934. Originally commissioned for the Rockefeller Center in New York City, it was destroyed by Nelson Rockefeller before it was finished due to the fact that it featured images of a Soviet-Russian May Day parade. Completely insulted and unimpressed with Mr. Rockefeller, Rivera took to Mexico to finish what he started, but not without plotting his revenge first. The finished mural features recent scientific discoveries in its central cross, including exploding suns, galaxies, and close-ups of bacteria swarms. When Rivera finished his painting in Mexico, he featured Mr. Rockefeller right under a very specific bacteria swarm, the bacteria being syphilis. It looks like Rivera's work was implying that Mr. Rockefeller had syphilis, and to add further insult to injury, the featured Mr. Rockefeller is standing by a woman with a martini, likely a prostitute. Number 9 is an allegory with Venus and Cupid by Angolo Bronzino. Painted in 1545 by Italian painter Angolo Bronzino, this painting features Venus and Cupid making love. While some people claim that this painting is simply about love, beauty, and jealousy, compelling evidence was brought forward in 1986 that the characters unmistakably showed clinical signs of syphilis. Looking at the figures in the background, they are all evidently ill, with swollen fingers and missing fingernails. Their toothless gums suggest mercury poisoning, mercury being the closest thing to an STI treatment available at the time. Even the little guy that's showering Venus and Cupid with rose petals has got the disease. If you look closely at his right foot, he appears to have stepped on a rose thorn and not have noticed. Once again, an indication that someone got carried away in the throes of passion. On its own, this painting is disturbing, but its secret message about the effects of syphilis is worse. And number 10 is the portrait of Bill Clinton by John Nelson Shanks. As is traditional for all presidents, former United States President Bill Clinton had his portrait commissioned by a well-known artist, John Nelson Shanks. Having done portraits for many celebrities and politicians, from Ronald Reagan to Princess Diana, Mr. Shanks seemed like a perfect fit for the job. This portrait is of the former president standing beside the mantel in the Oval Office, seemingly an innocent image, right? Painted in 2005 in a studio in Philadelphia, news of a secret message hidden in the portrait didn't break until 2015. Mr. Shanks finally admitted that the shadow that you can see on the mantle was actually an outline of the infamous DNA-stained blue dress that Monica Lewinsky wore during their infamous romp in the White House. Shanks said in an interview with People magazine that the shadow of the dress on the mantle acts as a metaphor for the mark of the popular sex scandal. Just goes to show you that pictures are sometimes worth more than 1,000 words. But thank you guys very much for watching this, and if you enjoyed it, remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll have a brand new video for you tomorrow at 12 West Coast time, 3 Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you come by then. Have a great day.